I didn't tell this story for years because every time I tried, people smiled the same way. Polite, careful, like you smile at someone who might be fragile. I learned to recognize that smile. It's worse than being called a liar. It means they think you believe your own lie. But 3 months ago, something happened that proved I wasn't wrong. And now I don't care if you believe me or not. I just want it on record. It started with a sound that shouldn't have been there. A soft knock from inside my apartment wall. Not a pipe, not a neighbor, a knock. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps again. I remember because I counted. I live alone now, but back then I had just moved into the unit. 3rd floor, corner apartment, older building, but renovated enough to look respectable online. Cheap rent for the area, which should have been my first warning. But when you're coming off a bad breakup and sleeping on a friend's couch, your standards get flexible. The building manager, Carl, was the overly friendly type. Too much eye contact. Too eager to reassure. A quiet building, he told me while walking me up the stairs. Concrete walls. You won't hear a thing from your neighbors. That line stuck with me later. At the time, it sounded like a selling point. The first week was normal, comfortably boring. I worked remote tech support, nights mostly, so my schedule was flipped. Coffee at 9 p.m., dinner at 2 a.m., sleep at sunrise. The building felt empty at night. The kind of empty that feels peaceful, not creepy. Distant traffic hum, elevator cables whining occasionally. Pipes ticking like cooling metal. Routine settled in fast. Then came the knock. It was around 1:40 a.m. I was at my desk wearing headphones, halfway through a customer call about a router firmware issue when I felt, not heard, something odd. A vibration through the wall behind my monitor. Light, rhythmic. I muted my mic. There it was again. Tap, 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 tap. I glanced back. The wall separated my office nook from what should have been the neighboring apartment's bedroom. Sorry, I told the customer. I thought someone was at my door. No one was. I finished the call and forgot about it within minutes. Buildings make noises, heat expansion, plumbing, old structures breathe. Second night, same time, same taps. This time I checked the hallway. No sound outside, no movement, no footsteps. I put my ear to the wall. Silence. I laughed at myself and went back to work. By the 4th night, I started timing it. 1:38 a.m. to 1:45 a.m., somewhere in that window. Always 3 taps. Pause, 3 taps. Never more, never less. I mentioned it to Carl when I saw him collecting packages. He smiled too quickly. Irradiators. Old building. There's no radiator in that wall. A pipe's then. I don't hear it anywhere else. A sound travels funny, he said, already stepping away. I let it go, mostly because I didn't want to be that tenant. But the pattern kept bothering me. Humans are wired to recognize patterns. Once you notice one, your brain refuses to let it go. So I tested something. On the 7th night at 1:37 a.m., I tapped back. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. I expected nothing. I got an answer. Immediate. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Perfectly matched. My stomach dropped in a way I can't fully describe, like missing a step in the dark. I told myself it was coincidence. Reflex noise. Maybe someone bumped furniture. I didn't tap again. Neither did they. The logical thing would have been to ignore it. Instead, I started listening for it every night. I stopped wearing headphones around that time window, muted movies, lowered music, waited. Anticipation turned into dread faster than I'd like to admit. Humans can get used to almost anything except uncertainty. Uncertainty eats at you. Your brain keeps trying to complete the pattern. I tried to meet the neighbor. Apartment 3B, no answer during the day, no answer evenings, no sound through the door, no light under the frame. I knocked twice on different days. Nothing. I asked Carl again. A 3B? He repeated. A storage unit. That's not what the layout shows, he chuckled. Converted space, not residential. Then what's behind my wall? Old layout doesn't match renovations exactly, he said. It happens. He changed the subject immediately after. That's when I started feeling stupid for being bothered. So I told my sister. She laughed. Congrats, she said. You found a ghost plumber. I laughed too. It felt good to laugh. That night, I tapped again. 3 and 3. The reply came instantly. But this time there was something else. A drag, like fingernails sliding slowly downward inside the wall. Sleep started getting weird after that. Not nightmares. Not exactly. More like half-awake states where I'd think I heard movement behind the drywall. Soft, shifting sounds. Sound, almost like fabric brushing against insulation. You know how when you wake at night, your brain tries to explain noises quickly so you can relax again? It cycles explanations like flashcards. Pipe, neighbor, rodent, pipe, neighbor, rodent, but the sounds didn't repeat enough to categorize. One night, I pressed a glass to the wall like they do in movies. I heard breathing. I dropped the glass and stepped back so fast I nearly fell over my chair. I stood there, heart racing, angry at myself. My own breath must have echoed through the glass cavity. Physics trick. Physics trick. I didn't sleep the rest of that morning. The smell came next. Faint at first, metallic, sour like wet pennies and old dust. I deep cleaned the apartment, took out trash, scrubbed sink traps, bleached the shower drain. Still there, stronger near the office wall. I told myself, dead mouse in the wall, rational, common, but the smell didn't rot. It lingered steady like something preserved. That bothered me more than rot would have. Rot changes. This didn't. 2 weeks in, I stopped tapping back. The knocks continued anyway, always at the same time. Always the same pattern. 3 and 3, I started recording audio on my phone. The knocks barely registered, too faint. When amplified, they sounded deliberate, not random vibration, not rattling, distinct impacts. I sent the clip to a friend who works construction. He replied, "Pipes, too clean." I wish he hadn't said that, because once someone validates your fear, it stops being a quirk and becomes a threat. I called building management again, not Carl this time, the corporate office. They checked records. Apartment 3B was listed as unoccupied maintenance access. A maintenance access to what? I asked. A legacy utility corridor, the woman said. A meaning? Old service space between units, not tenant accessible? That sounded official enough to calm me for about 6 hours. Then I realized something. Utility corridors don't knock back. The turning point came on a Tuesday night, and 1:42 a.m. knocks started. But this time they didn't stop. 3 and 3, pause, 3 and 3, pause, 3 and 3 again. Over and over. My chest tightened. My mouth went dry. It had never repeated before. I backed away from the wall and watched it like something might push through. Then, slowly, something pressed outward from inside the drywall. Not enough to break it, enough to bulge it, like a palm. I'm aware of how insane that sounds. I questioned my vision immediately. Lighting, angle. Shadow from my desk lamp. I turned on the overhead light. The wall was flat again. The knocking stopped. I didn't go near it the rest of the night. I told people. Everyone said the same things. You're stressed. We're not sleeping normally. Old buildings make weird noises. We're overreacting. Overreacting. That word gets under your skin after a while. So I forced myself to normalize it. I put a bookshelf against that wall. Full, solid. If something knocked, it would be muffled. It was, but not gone. Now it sounded like it came through the shelves themselves. That was worse. The twist, the real one, came from something small, a package delivery. Wrong address label, right apartment number, but different tenant name. I almost returned it to the courier, but curiosity made me look closer. The printed name was mine. Not just my name, my full legal name, middle included, but the shipping date was from 4 years earlier. I hadn't lived here 4 years earlier. I checked the sender, blank. I opened it. Inside was a cheap digital recorder, already charged, already containing files. My hands were shaking when I pressed play. Static, room tone, silence. Then 3 taps, pause, 3 taps, recorded from inside a hollow space. Echoing, timestamp 4 years ago. Same building address embedded in metadata. I sat on my kitchen floor for a long time after that. That was the moment I knew something wasn't just old building noise. Something had been happening here before me. Something patterned. Something repeating. And whatever it was, it knew where I lived now. I contacted management again. This time, I insisted on inspection. Carl showed up with a maintenance guy. They checked the wall with a stud finder and thermal reader. The thermal reader showed a cold vertical gap, about 3 feet wide, exactly where the knocks came from. A utility void, Carl said. Open it, I said. Not necessary. They're not necessary. Open it, he refused. That refusal scared me more than anything so far, because if it was nothing, opening it would prove I was wrong. People love proving you wrong, unless they already know you're right. 3 nights later, the bookshelf moved. Not fell, moved. 3 inches away from the wall. No drag marks on the floor behind it. No tilt, just shifted. I called my sister and told her everything. Really told her this time. She came over with her boyfriend, but we waited. 1:41 a.m. Knock. They both heard it. Both heard it. Both froze. 3 and 3. My sister whispered, "Okay, that's not pipes." Validation hit like electricity, but so did dread. Then came the sound none of us expected. A voice, muffled, right behind the wall. "Hello!" My sister screamed. Her boyfriend backed straight into the table. The voice came again. Hoarse, dry, too close. "Can you hear me?" Carl opened that wall the next morning. He didn't want to, but now there were witnesses. Inside was a narrow service corridor, and signs someone had been living there. Blankets, bottles, food wrappers, a battery lamp, and carved into the inner drywall, hundreds of tally marks. Grouped in sets of 6, 3 and 3, police found him 2 floors down, hiding inside another wall cavity. He'd been moving through maintenance corridors for years. Listening, mapping routines, practicing knock patterns, choosing who answered back. Carl knew, at least partially. That's why he resisted opening it. Lawsuit risk, he said later. Liability, everyone told me I was overreacting. Until they saw what happened next. Because when police pulled him out, he looked straight at me and said, "Why did you stop answering?" And smiled like we'd been having a conversation the whole time. I moved out that week. I still wake up at 1:40 sometimes, waiting, counting. And every time I hear a random knock anywhere, hotel, office, friend's house, I don't think pipes anymore, I think. Someone is checking if I'll answer.